Yeah.
And I remember my dad called me. He was like, "Yo, is this thing you did? Like that you're telling us you did?" I was like, "Yeah, it's Deadpool." He was like, "Yo, this is on every commercial break. Like this is like a real big thing." And I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of crazy."
What's up, guys? Today's guest is a professional tricker who's had the chance to portray the iconic characters of Deadpool and Spiderman. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Ross Kohnstam.
What's up, guys?
What's
up, Travis?
dog?
What's happening?
Dude,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming down.
Dude, hell yeah.
I literally thought I just popped my mic out like 2 seconds into your interview, so I'm just going to check. Nope, it's good.
Nice, all right.
I was like,
See,
wow.
I thought I would be the one to break it.
What a way to start the episode.
I feel better
Yeah,
now.
we're 31 episodes in, and I'm still not working the mic right.
Am I 32?
No, you're 31.
Okay, 31.
Yeah,
I
man.
timed it perfectly. I wanted
I know.
30s.
It's a lot of
I'm just
pressure,
playing.
man. But thanks for joining us, man, especially
man.
with how much you've been working lately and stuff. It's been really cool to track your progress over the years. And yeah, man, I mean, I kind of delved into it in the intro. You've gotten the chance to work on some really, really cool things. But the one that stood out in my mind I wanted to ask you about recently was there was a clip that was posted by The Rock. Can you check that one out, Connor?
You guys did the
What
research.
is that one from, bro? I saw this video on The Rock's channel originally on his Instagram.
Yeah, man.
And then everyone just started tagging you in this. So what is this from?
So this is from Hobbs and Shaw. It's so funny because I didn't even know that they got this clip.
Whose camera is this on?
Dude, it had to have been one of The Rock's people because
okay, 'cause no one's allowed to have
Dude,
cameras.
on that set, we tried to get some clips of our gags, and there's always a guy that was like,
Shutting it down.
yeah, you like didn't know who he was, but as soon as your phone was out, he'd look over your shoulder and be like, "Hey, put that away."
No way.
Yeah, so we tried to get our gags, so that had to have been like one of his people, but dude, it's really funny because yeah, this was a crazy gag. We did that.
How many
couple times.
takes?
We did that 3 times. I think this was the second take because if you see, he kind of goes like, he doesn't really throw me down.
He hesitated a little on
He
that.
hesitates, yeah. But the first one, that dude threw me on the ground.
I was going to say, out of 3, how
Yeah.
many times did you tread?
All 3.
I was going to say.
Yeah, there's just no way.
There's no way to avoid him.
It was just like, my neck was already so sore from doing other gags.
So you
We were just
didn't
doing
have the
crazy stuff.
muscles to keep it tight.
Nah, but he was so cool, bro. He was like, dude, the funniest part was, you know, like when you're about to do something with an actor, they're usually like so focused on what they're doing that they're kind of like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then they kind of do their thing. This dude asked me for permission if he could do this to me.
Really?
before we did it. He was like, "Hey, brother, what's your name?" I'm like, "Ross." He's like, "Hey, man, you know what they're telling me to do to you? They want me to like do the spine buster." And I was like, "Okay, cool." He's like, "That's cool with you?" I was
That's
like,
cool.
I was like, "Yeah." So it was. I mean, just the amount of respect was awesome. Every time he did it, he was just like, "Yo, you're crazy."
He's one of the people that I've asked maybe like 2 people in my entire career for a picture, and he was one of them. Because
Yeah,
he's just
pretty
like,
good about that.
He's one of those cool people that I had to show my mom, and also I just respected the
Yeah.
hell out of him, like watching his career. One thing I'll never remember, man, and he's the only actor that's ever done this to me. He showed up on day 1 of Fast 7. We hadn't met him yet. We'd only sent him the previs, and he walks on set, and we go to like show him the fight, and he goes, "Oh," and then we do this here, and he's like, "And we do this, and then we walk here, and then we do this."
Oh snap!
And he like knew the choreo off the previs, and I looked at him.
He was in there studying, huh?
And I just said like a joke, kind of like, I was like, "Man, that's pretty impressive. Like, you learned the whole 2-minute fight off a video." And he looked at me and he legitimately said, "Yeah, man, like, you know, it's a couple minutes. I used to do 25-minute fights live, little brother." And I was like,
yeah, that's true. Very true.
What a savage, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
for reals.
That was his thing too, like, because when he was throwing us on the ground, he's like, he's done some of that stuff with the WWE stuff.
Yeah,
So like,
so he knows.
I mean, after I did it, I remember him saying he gave me a big hug, which was dope. It's always dope when they are like that because it makes you want to do it.
And they respect
for
you.
3 times,
Yeah.
you know. But he was like, I just want to let you know I've done this move to a lot of wrestlers, and I never seen someone do this to the hard ground before. And I was like, dope. I'm like seeing birds and stuff.
That's exactly what you want to hear.
But yeah, it was super cool, dude.
Did you see the movie? Did that make the cut?
It did make the cut. That made the cut. A couple other things made the cut that I wanted to. They cut a lot of stuff, but we did so many gags there. There was like no way it was all gonna make the movie.
That's what I was gonna say.
There's
There's nothing worse than when you're on a show and you know, like, oh, dude, I'm in the deep background, or this is never
dude.
gonna
I mean,
make
it was crazy because like, I mean, it was a huge movie. Like, it's Fast and Furious, and Dave Leitch is directing, so he's all about action, and he would go do a unit, and then he would go tell Greg Remenner.
Oh, you can push it away.
He'd be like, yo, Greg, go get videos of guys doing vignettes. Nothing that was in the movie like scripted at all. It was like,
stuff.
hey, go do some second unit, and it was like, and it wasn't just like do vignettes. It was like people were doing ratchets, people were getting like picked up by Samoan dudes and like spun out by another Samoan dude, and like. Yeah, it was crazy. We knew nothing was gonna make it.
Yeah, it's wild times. But you've been pretty fortunate, man. I've seen like a lot of your gags actually make it because like I've seen the behind the scenes ones. The Bumblebee one. Yeah. That one made it, right? Because I think you have that behind the scenes clip. Can you
I got lucky with that too. Dude, that was right into the camera. They kept that.
So lucky.
For all the ones that didn't make it, there's been a couple of really good ones.
So go to the second clip first, actually. Can you pull up the other one? Yeah, pull up the second Bumblebee one. Let me see.
Oh,
so this is the behind the scenes, right? This is like the actual take of it.
Yeah.
So who's riding these wires with you? It's you.
This is me and boss man Efka.
The Savage, the Legend.
The Savage, the Legend. Yeah, that was an honor. Yeah, dude. So, I don't even know who got that video. Someone taped a camera to something.
So the people that are just listening on the audio and you don't have the ability to watch what we're taking a look at right now, what we're watching is a video of him on set standing side by side with Efka, and you guys are on wires right now.
Yeah, we're on wire.
It's timed out so that at the push of the button, you guys get launched up in the air, and you guys do a rap or
boom. Yeah, it's like a
they do a rap.
I think it's one rap.
One and a half. They rap, and at the same time, an explosion goes off, and a Humvee car flips.
If you look, you see me looking at this Hummer. Watch me hit the ground.
You're just trying to make sure it's good, right?
Well, it's funny because they told me, they were like, yo, this Hummer's going to flip. As soon as you hit the ground, just look up.
Just make sure it's good.
Just make sure it's not like coming at you. I was like, all right. So I hit the ground, and as soon as I hit the ground, I look up. I'm like, yo, where's that Hummer at? And it's literally like this. It's in the air. It's flipping.
It's good to be aware, bro. I was on Transformers once, and they were dropping a car. They were just dropping cars all over. There's even a clip in my reel where we dive out of the way, and literally right behind us,
I see
car
it.
drops.
Yeah.
So they were doing that all week. We get to one, and you kind of just get in the sauce where you just do them. We got to another one. We do the same thing. We jump. We land. I hear a noise, and I look, and I just yell, move. The effects guys had wrapped that one, whereas all the previous ones just dropped.
Yeah.
That one was in a wrap, so when it dropped, it started rolling, but we were already on the ground, and I was like, oh my God. I yelled, move. I think Tamiko Brownlee was there with me.
Yeah.
And look, we got the way, but.
Dude, these movies are no joke.
Yo, show the actual one, Connor, from the real movie here. So this is what made the final cut from the film Bumblebee, which is part of the Transformers franchise.
I was so happy this ended up on the internet so I could rip it. Look at this. Boom. That's a good one.
Honestly, man. Yeah, between that and the behind the scenes angle you got covered.
Yeah, dude.
I can't tell you how many times gags never make it.
Dude, that's why I was so stoked Bumblebee turned out how it was, because it's a little different pace than the other Transformers. Because, dude, those other Transformers movies, I haven't worked on them. I only did Bumblebee with these guys, but you could do gag like that in the background.
Bro, trust me.
Never see it ever.
Bro, Transformers 4 was one of two movies in my entire career I've left early on because I was happy to move on to the next one. Every day
Those dig your soul, dude.
I have anxiety attacks, bro.
That's it. That'll
like you said, there's so many gags I did where I saw the parts of the final movie and there's a robot in the way.
Oh, yeah.
And like I'm falling off like a 10-step ladder to the deck.
Yeah.
There's a robot in the way.
And you're like, why did I do this to the concrete?
The adjustments were good, but...
No, these shows you make a lot of money, but you gotta... sit on the couch and put some ice on your bones.
Yeah, man. That's super cool, man. No, but what's been really cool, man, is that not only are your gags making it, but the coolest thing to me is that you've been getting the chance to work with all of us like over the last few years, because this is a little special to us because like we saw you when you first got into the industry. And yeah, it's been cool to see it. And what's funny is that before you even got in the industry, I just remember you as this little kid that landed triple cork on the grass and lost his mind, which is like a classic video. What year was that when you landed triple cork? Because I think what's going to be funny for a lot of the listeners is that we started this off talking about how you've gotten to do all these crazy stunt jobs, and we're going to delve more into Deadpool and Spiderman. But you started as a tricker and a martial artist.
Yep. Yeah, I mean... I don't know what year.
What year is the triple cork?
Triple cork was like 2011 or 2010.
And how old are you in 2010?
What year is it? 2011.
2011.
I was like 13.
Wow.
I think.
13 years old, landing
13,
triple
14?
cork. You were like one of the early ones. Do you remember what
Dude,
number
that's so
you were in
funny.
the world?
Yeah, I remember this day vividly because I wanted the triple cork so bad.
You were one of the early ones.
Dude, it was one of the early ones, and I remember, so this was number 7.
Wow.
I think. And the reason why I know that is because me and Vivian posted a triple cork on the same day.
No way.
And I posted mine like 6 hours earlier than he did. And so on there, and people made the little compilation videos. Every time someone new would land a triple cork, there'd be a new compilation.
Of course,
video,
because they had to add on people.
Yeah, and it was like at first there was like I think there was like 2. It was like Guthrie and like Scotty,
Skeleton. Yeah.
right? And then they kept adding to it. And I remember they added it, and it was like they put number 7, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's official. I didn't even make the video. Someone else said it. I guess I'm number 7 because I didn't know. I was like, did maybe me and Vivian do like Tiesies?
You may have been the youngest one.
At the time, definitely. I definitely
the
was.
youngest triple corker in
Dude,
history.
that video is really funny because I think I was a freshman in high school, and I was failing math.
Okay.
And I wasn't in a good place with my parents, and they were making me go to math tutoring every day after school. And so I'd go home and I'd session really, really hard until I had to go to this math tutoring thing.
It was like your way to exhaust yourself.
Yeah, dude, and I would just gas it for like 2 hours till I had to leave. And I used to crank up, we used to listen to the old, all the music from like Scotty Skelton's old samplers and
all
stuff.
the hype rock
all those
music.
hype, especially since Scotty landed triple cork. That was like the jam at the time. And I remember I put this little camera. I forgot what kind of camera I had, and I landed a triple cork, but it didn't film on the camera.
Wow.
I didn't press the button.
There's so many stories of this happening to people. Or the
it didn't
camera
even
falls,
film it,
or you're
right?
off. It's crazy.
And my real reaction was crazy. My real reaction was like, I was like on my knees. I was like screaming. I was like, holy crap, what the fuck, right? And I was like screaming. And I went back to the thing and it didn't record. And I remember I was so like juiced, bro. I was like, yo, what? I was like, and then I doubted myself. I was like, I didn't think it was real. I was like, oh, maybe I didn't really, in my head, I was like, maybe it was like a double. And I just
there's no proof
I just
of it.
got excited, And so I paced around my yard for 10 minutes and just gathered some more energy, and I put up my camera, and then I did it again. That was the one right after that.
So you landed it
and
right
I landed
away.
it, and then I remember I was like, and I went back to it, and I was like, oh shit, I did it. And dude, I think I did 10 times.
Just right away.
I just kept doing it. Yeah, I locked, because I was like, I can't do this and then not let it
go away,
right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, I have to keep doing it. So I did 10 times. My dad comes home, and he's like, yo, you have to go to math tutoring. I'm like, 1 second. So I went downstairs. I had this little thing in the basement where I had my YouTube set up. And it was one of those flip cameras.
Oh, yeah,
where it was just a USB
the old
thing.
school
yeah,
flip
yeah,
cameras,
right?
yeah.
So I plugged it in, downloaded it right to my YouTube, put that little song on it. I don't know what that song is. I think that was a song I liked at the time, but posted it. Went to math tutoring without checking, because at the time I don't think I had a YouTube app.
It's not on the app. It wasn't big on that.
I didn't have YouTube or anything on my phone, so posted it, and the whole time I couldn't focus. I was like, yo, I wonder what everyone's saying. I wonder if people are hating on me. I wonder if this is legit. I had to wait for
Did it count?
the community to And I remember I got home and it already had 2,000 or 3,000 views, which at the time was crazy. I'd post a video and I'd get a couple hundred views, and everyone was like, yo, number 7, and I was like, yo. And it's funny because to my parents I was failing math, but I was like, yo guys, I don't think you understand.
Look at mom and dad.
I don't think you guys understand. I'm the 7th person in the fucking world to land a triple cork. You guys don't understand that. I was on cloud 9. I was like, yo.
And I'm the youngest. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I never thought about it to this day, but you definitely were the youngest at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Which is crazy in retrospect, because nowadays everyone equates Shosei as being the craziest. And
that guy's crazy.
Obviously he's a god at 14 years old. And if you want to see him trick, come to the Jam Gathering, November 22nd
Woo!
and 23rd.
Shout out.
Shameless
Jam
plug.
Gathering.
On our own show, bro, I'm going to plug it.
Bro, everyone should be there, bro.
But you know what's crazy is Shosei's landing crazy stuff at 14. You landed the 7th triple cork in the world at 13, 14, right?
Yeah, I was definitely the youngest at that time.
You'd been training for how long at that point in your life, though? Because you originally started as a traditional martial artist. And where were you training at?
What's that?
Where did you start training at?
So, this is funny. I'm going to tell you some stuff you probably don't know about me, Travis.
Oh.
So, I started Taekwondo.
I'm sorry.
What's that?
I was about to apologize to Micah that you were about to reveal some secrets.
No, Micah knows this all. No, I'm just
Of
playing.
course.
Shout out Micah Carnes.
Shout out Micah.
Where you at? Come on.
Please
Come
get
back-
on a
come back to
JAMCast. You're
America.
highly requested.
But think I was like 5 or 6 when I started.
Okay.
And I started at Charlie Lee Karate.
No way.
You in Herndon, Virginia. Yeah. So, and that was the local karate school. That was like the place my mom just drove up to.
Dude, you got super lucky.
Dude, so lucky. Like in retrospect, because my mom was like, "Oh yeah, there's this karate school that's like 5 minutes from our house. We should just go there." And well, I begged her to go. I used to watch Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, and me and my little brother's 2 years younger than me, but we'd watch Power Rangers, and then we would run around the house making like crazy noises and like fighting each other. And my dad called it whooshing.
Which is funny. That's what it's called in my sound effect packs.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
whooshing?
I literally
really?
have whooshing. Yeah, whoosh.
Because my dad would be like, "Yo," like at first he would like let it go, but then we'd be like out of control, and he'd be like, "Yo, you guys need to stop whooshing. Get out of here." He'd be like doing something, or like my little brother would be like whooshing in the corner by himself, and he'd be like, "Evan, you're whooshing. Stop." Right. So long story short, we were doing that a lot. And my dad was like, "Yo, take these guys to this like karate place.
Get it out of their
like
system.
just go like get out of their system." Yeah. So I went Charlie Karate and just started like taking normal classes, and then I ended up at Charlie Lee Karate, which was crazy. So like once I got a little bit older and I was training, the first tournament I ever went to was Charlie Lee Nationals.
Which I was gonna say,
which
for
is
those out there that don't know, that used to be one of the top tournaments on the
it's
year.
like one of the biggest tournaments, especially for tricking.
Exactly.
Which is
They used to-
crazy.
They used to host the Extreme Kick Contest.
Yeah.
Back in 2000, 2001, back when Kalman Choka was king at tricking, at least Extreme Kick Contest, you know?
Yeah, dude, that was crazy because I remember going and I thought that was like every tournament. I was like, what are these guys doing? This is crazy. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. It was like the heat of Charlie National. It was like 2006, 2007 when like it was like a gathering, like a niece, everyone was
Steve
like
Terada at that
everyone
time.
was there, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like a little kid, probably like a freaking green belt, just like watching people session.
So
And
you
I
were
was,
exposed
like,
to tricking super early.
Super early, but I didn't really know how to like start tricking because no one at the school really like really tricked. It was like everyone could do like a backflip, someone could do like a B twist.
Yeah.
Like no one was at that level yet.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like we were like it was like very sport karate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started training at Charlie Karate, and I learned about tricking at
No way.
tricks contest.
And so was that your studio for the entirety of your martial arts career, or?
No, I got my black belt there. I was like 12 or 13, I think.
Yes.
And it's funny because I really, really wanted to compete, and I was doing a lot of local tournaments, and I really, really wanted to be on the competition team.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me on the competition team.
For Charlie Lee?
Yeah, they wouldn't let me on it. And it was like this like drive in me. I was like, I want to like compete, right? I even had people tell me, they were like, "You're not gonna ever compete and make it because you're not Asian, you're white."
No way.
And I was like, "Oh snap, really? This is how this works? Damn, I'm never gonna do this." So I was like, "Damn." So long story short, the school kind of like not fell apart, but Charlie Lee got like super busy doing other stuff, and the instructor of the school, my first instructor, his name's Chris Redford, and he was the first to be like, "Yo, if this is what you want to do, then you just go compete." You know, and he was training me at the time. He was helping me build my forms, and he was like, "Go compete. Like nothing's holding you back. You should go compete." So my mom was super supportive and started flying me to NASCAR tournaments, started competing, and I wore Charlie Lee top for like a couple tournaments, and then my mom was like, "Why are you wearing this top? No one's really like supporting you doing this. Like go out there in a blank gi and just do your thing and see if like," and nobody like knew how like the teams worked at that time. You show up, everyone's on like Team AK, Paul Mitchell, like all these teams, and like we didn't know how it worked. So it was like, all right, we'll go wear like a blank gi top. And then I was competing, and I met like Cole Eckert, Will Greenberg, all the AKA cats, and got along really well with them. And my mom started flying me to Chicago to Sensei Sharkey school in Chicago. Started doing like winter camp, then summer camp, and then eventually my mom would just like fly me there, and I would just like stay there for I don't know how long at a time and train. Shout outs Sensei Sharkey.
Yeah.
But
it helped build a lot of legends in the game.
Yeah, I mean me and Micah, I mean that's really my home for martial arts. I want to say like I started at Charlie Lee, but they gave me my foundation, but as far as I've gotten with everything I've done now, is definitely Sensei Sharkey and Sideswipe.
Yeah, Sensei Sharkey, for those of you out there that don't know, he's had a school over in Chicago forever, Sharkey's Karate, and they've had guys from, Matt Mullins, Craig Henningsen,
Dude,
Brendan.
yeah, so many people. Brendan.
So many guys
Mike,
have come out of that school.
Yeah.
It's been incredible to see, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see where everyone's at now.
Yeah.
Kind of like take a second to reflect, because we're all out here doing it now, and you kind of like, you run into people every once in a while, and you kind of like catch up, and you're like, holy crap, we were all just like little dojo rats.
Yes.
And now we're doing it.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Dude, me and Micah used to like sleep at the karate school and in sleeping bags and just train for like, I don't know, like 2 weeks at a time.
Forever.
Of like try to get my homework done, and then we'd just be training. Yeah.
And did Sharky's always have a spring floor? That's something I always wanted to ask. Like, was like...
It started, it was
just the puzzle mats at first, right?
Well, it was a carpet at first, like back in the day. It was a carpet. And then it went to like the wrestling mats.
Yes.
And then if anyone remembers, Sensei set up the tricks battle at AK Grands, which my ears are all messed up, but he set up this whole like tricking like thing for people to enter with like cash prizes and stuff, and they bought a spring floor. And that's for the event, and
so
then
I always
after
wondered
the
how
fact,
it got in there.
Everyone was kind of like, "Yo, can we just like put this in the school?" And I remember he was just kind of like, "Yeah, if you guys want to build it, put it in." So everyone built it and put it in the school, and that was the coolest thing ever, because we used to go to like all the local gymnastics schools, and we would always like fight that battle of like, trying to pay to go or like go the right time of day. But then we had a spring floor in our school, and it was like over.
Yeah, I remember once that came in, then you started just seeing videos of like Micah putting out samplers just within the studio.
Oh,
now.
Dude, yeah,
and
it was crazy.
Like,
nobody stopped at that point.
Changed the game. Yeah, you guys could just train at your home gym then. So, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I always had to ask the question, the origin of the spring floor.
Yeah, dude, that spring floor is and it's crazy because now they have a new school, and the entire floor is spring floor.
Wow.
So at the old school, it was front half was regular floor, because Sensei was like, we're not going to train on a spring floor. It was like super old school. Yeah. And then they put the spring floor in the back half, and that was dope. But now the school that they have, it's a bigger space, and the entire school is spring floor. Damn. Which is sick. And those kids like are
spoiled little kids.
Killing it, dude.
That's what I'm saying. All these kids got access to stuff. Like now the whole thing that we hear from our parents, like you were so lucky with what you have in technology.
Yeah.
I'm like saying the same thing about kids in gyms.
It's so crazy to say that. I feel like I would never have said that. Right. But now like with the Shoseis and all those guys, I'm like,
dude, just imagine this.
They battled each other online.
You uploaded your triple cork off a flip cam at like 240p, 360p.
Yeah,
now kids can literally film in 1080p.
They can edit their sampler on their phone, dude.
They can watch it back in slow motion and study.
Yeah, the slow mo is the coolest thing. The iPhone is amazing.
That's crazy.
It's amazing.
Man. So I know you had like a little stint competing. You were on Team AKA. At what point did you decide to like actually move out here to LA to pursue stunts? And how old were you? Because you're pretty young.
Yeah. I moved. Right. I competed for a while. Competed probably till I was 17 or 18.
Okay.
And it was funny because throughout high school, anyone that knows me from back home, I told them, I was like, I'm going to LA. I was like, none of this matters. I'm going to LA. And everyone was like, all right, dude. Like, whatever. And even I told my parents, I was like
I'm the 7th triple corker in the world.
I was just like, I'm going to LA, right? And the funny thing is, I didn't even know what I was going to do in LA. I was just like, I just saw like Anise and Danny and Jeremy and everyone was in LA like working on movies. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go work on movies. Like that was like my mindset, right? And it was cool because throughout high school I was doing. It was crazy because even in high school I was like leaving for like 2 weeks at a time doing sideswipe shows. Like we'd go to Italy and like go do like European shows, and I'd like be gone for 2 weeks, and I'd come back and my teachers would be like what are you doing? Like you were just gone for 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, I was like in another country performing, and they're like, oh, all right. Or like we go do like Macy's Day Parade doing like Power Ranger stuff. So I was doing all that in high school. So I was like super like biased to what I was like going back home to. I was like, I just want to like do this. I just want to like perform and like do all this stuff. So after high school, I basically packed up all my stuff. I think it was like 2 days after graduation, and I moved to Chicago.
Okay.
Lived at the karate school. Trained there for a couple months, and Sensei was going to drive me out to LA because that's like what Sensei's done for.
That's what he did for
like everyone.
Yeah,
like the Match, the Craigs, the Mike, like everybody. He's like driven from Chicago, come out to LA, said what's up to everyone, and then he flies back. It's just kind of like the way, like the rite of passage. So I got to Chicago and I was like, all right, Sensei, I'm ready to go to LA. And he was like, nah, dude, nah, I'm like busy doing stuff. I'm not going to LA yet. And I'm like, what, for real? So he's like, nah, just train. Like, it's fine. Like, well, I'll take it to LA and I don't know, we'll figure it out, right? Yeah. He was like working on an AK Nationals or something. I don't know what it was, but I was like, what? So I was just training. And then eventually a couple months later, I was like, I got a Power Ranger job. Somebody called me, hey, can you do like a week thing in LA? And I was like, Sensei, I gotta go to LA. Like, I got a job. And he's like, when is it? And I'm like, it's like next Friday. He's like, fuck. But dude, he's the man. He was like, all right. He like packed his bags. And we hopped in my car. I bought a car out there. Got help buying a car out there, and then we friggin' did whatever, the 35-hour drive.
No way.
And he doesn't stop. Anybody that drives with Sensei,
he didn't stop.
He doesn't stop. Well, like, I mean,
you just get gas.
The stop to get gas, yeah, and like we'll switch off a little bit, but he drives. He just does it. Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
It's insane.
That's insane.
Like I helped out a little bit, but nothing compared to what he did.
Yeah,
it was insane.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I moved out here. Yeah, I was like, I think I just turned 18.
No way.
Yeah.
So you had a fresh start, fully decided, and yeah, and it's cool, man. Like, I'm kind of jealous of you because in retrospect, like, I'm glad I went to college. I don't regret getting that out of my system. But yeah, it's cool to have been able to go straight out of high school and pursue the industry actively here in LA.
And it's funny too, because like at the time, I had like a LA high when you're like, yo, I'm in LA, right? You get that like LA high. But then there was like that period where all my friends were in college and I was struggling. Yeah. And I was in that zone of like, I was just getting up to train with people. And I was kind of like, damn, I wonder if I'm like missing out on anything. Because you're like struggling, you know? Like, you don't have any money. You're just going to these workouts that people tell you to go to. Everyone's like testing you, see what you're made of. Yeah, and it got to a point where I was like, damn, maybe I should just like go see what my homies are up to. It never really got to that, but there were days where I was like, oh man. But
it's tough, man, because at least in college you have the comfort of like learning a lot of life lessons at a campus with other people. You could always like go to your like, you know, your RA in the dorms for help, or like, you know, you have all these things set in stone.
Right.
Like you literally just got thrown right into the mix in one of the craziest places to move of all.
Yeah, and I mean, and anytime it got like that, I would just tell them, I'd be like, this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
You did this. Like those early mornings when you're driving, you're like, fuck, all right, this is what I wanted to do. But it's just like anything else. You put in the time to go to college, you know, you learn what you have to learn, and then hopefully something better comes from it. And it's sort of the same thing out here. It's just got to grind until you so you make it work.
It was funny, man. I remember like the start of your career, you kind of did the same path as a lot of the other guys that we've even had on the show. Like your career is somewhat paralleled, like a lot of us, in the sense that like you started by doing live shows and commercials and like, you know, just being like part of a music video or doing flips live, you know, things like that.
Yeah, that was, and I'm actually, in retrospect, I'm so happy I did that. Like a couple people that have moved out recently that I'm close to, they're all jumping full out into stunts. And it's awesome because they're jumping right into stunts. But I'm really thankful for the experiences I had doing live shows and how much I learned and how many people I met doing that as like my little like transition to just, one, becoming a better performer, and two, just like, I don't know. I just don't think I would have done well if I just jumped right into it. I totally
agree. Yeah. And you know what is really cool is that like you not only gain the experience, but like you get to do stuff that like we're not going to get to do in the stunt world, which is like interact with a lot of musical artists and things like that. The other thing that's crazy, and like I've never really said this out loud, but I think the advantage of it and what helped a lot of us was we all got to do those jobs and learn a lot of like set etiquette and things about being on a set without embarrassing ourselves in front of stunt coordinators right away. You know, because like you can
that's
pick
a huge
up
thing when you jump into it, man.
You can pick up terms and learn things while you're on these other sets. And so like when we were in the stunt world, we already had an understanding of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer, I'm sure you can say it too, is I think anyone that's done live shows, whether it's martial arts live shows or The Voice or MTV, whatever it is, when you have that feeling of, all right, we've rehearsed this and now I have one shot to do this. Yeah. And if I mess it up,
everyone sees.
Then I just ruined everything. You know? So you have that like, and then you learn how to perform. One, with that pressure, like performing in front of like 20, 30, 50,000 people is insane, right? And then getting good at it to the point where you know you're gonna nail it. You don't even like get it in your head anymore. You're like, we've rehearsed it, I know what to do, and then you have one shot at it, and you're like, okay, cool. As opposed to like showing up on a set and just assuming you have 12 takes at doing something. if you go into it and you feel like, all right, well, if I could do it in one take, might as well do it. Then I feel like that makes you that gives you a leg up being a performer as opposed to someone that, I don't know, maybe like knows that they have more times to do it if they have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely the purest form of like mastery is being able to do your skills on command live, like right there on the spot,
and just know that it's going to be like spot on.
Yeah, because even in film we have the advantage of camera angles, rehearsals, even still like all the stuff that you see in post, like your Bumblebee clip looks cooler because they had different angles, they add some stuff in post, special effects. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at least they try to like amp up stuff, you know? So so I think that's really cool, man, more than anything. But the one thing that I would say about that I remember distinctly was like back when you were in the live show stuff was you started performing with LL Cool J a lot.
Yes, I did. I know you're gonna pull up all these.
Yo, so what happened with LL Cool J, and at what point is this early in your career when you're doing stuff with him, or like how did you get introduced to him,
dude?
Because like at first you guys were just doing stuff for his shows, right? Or because
it was weird. So when I first got here, I literally didn't. It's so funny because everyone moves to LA and they just like expect like this like magical thing to like fall out into place of like how they're gonna do something. And when I first got here, I was like, I want to be in movies. And then I was like, well, nobody's calling me to be in a movie, so I should go like do something to like pay my rent, right? So I forgot who it was. Someone was like, hey, you should make your little reel and then send it into MSA. Someone was with MSA, and I was like, okay, cool. I think it was Craig. I think Craig like sent me an email to like an old agent he had in New York or something. So I made a little clip of me tricking and I sent it to them. Sent in this video, and I just started going to these like cattle call auditions. I started going to like these cattle calls, and every once in a while I get called. Like I think I did like MTV Movie Awards, like just like randomly, like you get called as a. The coolest part to me was all you guys had already been out here.
Yes.
So this is one of the coolest things, for people that don't know this, is that my generation of coming out here, there was already calls for trickers.
Yes.
Which was insane, right? So like I got out here and I'm talking to this MSA guy, and he's like, oh, you're a tricker? Cool, yeah. We'll send you out to these auditions. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't have to explain anything. He's like, yeah, we know, yeah, cool. He's like, I watched your reel. You're great. This is amazing. And he started sending me out to the auditions, and I would book it. He was like easy. I was like, whoa, this is cool. The dance stuff wasn't as easy, but it was the tricking that helped me out. But I did a job with LL Cool J in hi-hat. Man, this is so crazy. I haven't thought about this part of my life in a while.
I know. And it's funny, you were doing it back with a couple other trickers at the time, right? Was Cordova on it?
Cordova. So I did it with one of my homies at the time, Flips.
Yeah.
Hooked me up. And we started doing these LL Cool J shows. And he was trying to have me do b-boy stuff, and I tried to be a b-boy, and I couldn't do it. Yeah. I was like, I'm not a b-boy. And I just faked it till I made it and did tricks, and everyone loved it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then eventually, Hi-Hat was like, yo, we need some more of you guys. Like, and she was like, LL likes it when you guys do the flips.
Yes.
Right? And I was like, oh, yeah, dope. And at the time, Cordova was helping me out. He was sending me auditions, like all sorts of stuff. And I was like, dope, Cordova, bring Cordova. And so Kyle jumped on. And then we brought Super Troy on. Super Troy did some tricks with us, and we did these little like pop-up tour shows. And at the time, it was awesome because it paid my rent. It was like just enough shows every once in a while to pay my rent, and they were dope shows. It was like we'd go out to almost like arenas, and he would do shows with like DJ Jazzy Jeff and like all these old school artists. Yeah. And we would just go out and do these little sets and do tricks and got paid. And at the time, it was like the coolest thing. Oh yeah, like the coolest thing. And it was dope because we got pretty cool with him because it wasn't like a tour, but we saw him every couple weeks, and he got to the point where he would do sets or before a show he'd be like, yo guys, when we get to this point, I'm gonna go chill, and you guys just like take over the stage, just like do some
freestyle
tricks
and stuff. Yeah.
And he loved it. He was like, yeah, do some crazy stuff. And we're like, all right, cool. So like me and Kyle will go out and just like freestyle.
That's crazy. That's hella crazy.
Yeah, looking back, those were fun. Those were fun shows. To perform in front of that many people I hope anybody gets to do that.
Yeah,
it's in the beginning.
It's just funny because those are the times where like every job counts more than anything. And you kind of just do whatever you got to do.
Oh, dude. I did crazy jobs. Bro.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember the time that we did aerobic tricking in Japan?
Dude, I was actually going to say, so Travis, that was another rent payer right there. Travis, I was like, that was before LL Cool J, I think.
Wow, was that?
Yeah,
that was
I think
that early.
I had only been here for like a couple months.
Yeah.
And I was just training at Jam, and I remember you hit me up and you were like, come through to this like open audition. It wasn't open actually, no. You had like all the homies.
I just had a couple homies.
Yeah, you had the homies.
Yeah.
And I went, and I remember getting there and everyone was there. It was like Steve Tirada, like friggin' Vulture,
Everyone
like Emmett, like everyone was there. And I was like, God damn. So, and I remember asking someone, I was like, what are you guys gonna do? I had not like really done auditions. I was like, what are you guys gonna do?
You're brand new, yeah.
And someone was like, do like an open forum. I was like, what? Do an open forum? And I was like, yeah, dude, open forum. I was like, all right. So I did like a little hand form and did some tricks. And the dude was on a laptop, right?
Yeah,
he wasn't even there.
He was overseas in Japan.
Yeah. And I did it, and I was like, all right, I didn't get that. And I went home. I just like went and did my thing, and I remember like, yo, you want to go to Japan? And I was like, what? Yeah. That was dope.
It was super cool. We got to take you, Pinto, Jacob
Brodlick.
Pinto, and Luke Brodlick.
Dude, that's a crazy group.
Can you pull it up? It should be under Japan, possibly. Yeah,
and that's a crazy group.
What we got flown out there for, funny enough, is we got found off of our YouTube, Jam did, and they basically knew that we were, known for tricking.
Yeah,
and
dude, that was fun.
They basically said like, hey, can you come do a commercial for Dido Soda, which is a soda brand out there. And so in this video right here, what it is like, the way the actual commercial started, though, was like a little kid's watching like a workout TV show on TV. And like you guys start working out and then start doing tricks because you drank the soda.
Yeah, we gassed it. Hey.
Dude, the funniest part of that commercial, which to this day I've never ever seen done, and honestly I'll have to try to find it and cut it in the final one, is the commercial starts by you guys standing there drinking and we shake and you guys put your arms out and they rigged your clothes with like 20 pieces of fishing wire.
That was some
per person's clothes. And they ripped it off and it broke away in the middle. And we only had one shot at it.
And it worked.
And it worked seamlessly.
It worked. It was like a shot where, like your clothes just like blast off of you.
Imagine breakaway pants.
Hair. What's going on?
Imagine a whole breakaway outfit. And like they had like 4 or 5 people like per person just holding these strings, and they're like 3, 2, 1.
We're like this. And I remember before it, I was like this, and I remember you said to me, you were like, "Yo, if this works, don't forget to like make like a happy face.
Yes.
Don't just like look surprised, like look like you're having a good time." I was like, "Oh, all right."
Oh, dude, man.
No, that was a fun shoot. We were there for like a day.
Yeah.
Like maybe like 2 days.
Dude, that was a fun one. We got to do that one. The other one that we got to do that was cool was another crazy overseas one, but we didn't get to go overseas, was FSB 3D.
Oh yeah.
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 I forgot that we got to do that. Try to pull up FSB, Connor. So FSB was a movie in China that I actually, and funny enough,
that was dope.
We'll tie in like the whole world together, segueing into the next story. But like I got called to work on this with Guy Da Silva and Jimmy Chu, and we got called to do the finale scene of this movie called FSB 3D in China. And they sent me this crazy video rendering of what they wanted to do. Yeah. And they're like, "Can we mocap this?" And I was like, "Not all of it. What you did is impossible."
I remember you sent me the previs.
I was like, "This is video game stuff you're trying to do live." And I'm like, "Can we put people on wires?" They're like, "No, we want tricks." So me and Ross like went to the gym and we just did elements of the tricks. I'd be like, "Do a double full here." You broke it
down.
Yeah. Do a flash kick here. And like that was a flash kick right there.
Yeah, you broke it down really well, because I remember watching the previs and I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? And you were like, no, it's easy. You're just going to do cartwheel double full, pop flash, and then we're going to go do this thing that you're going to do.
That was a cork. I did a cork, and then I cut to a different angle, and then I had you do a backflip.
And then
and we blended it together because we couldn't do a snatch
turned out sick. Like, it's insane, but this made it to my reel like right away.
It looks so cool, man. And what's cool is that the team that I got to work on it with was Blur Studios, which is the same team that does a lot of movies around the world with incredible post. And one of the movies they're famous for is a movie you got to work on, which is Deadpool.
Yeah.
A little movie called Deadpool, which is crazy, dog. And for those people out there that don't know, man, how long did you get to work on it for?
So Deadpool, I actually did not work on it super long at all. Yeah. Because they filmed most of it in Vancouver, I believe. And then I lucked out because they filmed the whole movie in Vancouver, and then because it was Blur doing it, they had all these shots that they had already set up to do on a mocap stage.
Yeah, they knew what they wanted.
Yeah, they just left plates where they knew that they were just gonna go and do mocap stuff. So I worked on it. It was just for a couple days in town, but they were like 15-hour mocap days, and they were just like really long days. And shout out Craig Henningsen, threw my name in. They wanted a tricker, and came in and worked for Full Silvera, and it was almost the same kind of deal with how you broke down the last video. Was they like had an idea of what they wanted Deadpool to do, but then there wasn't like a tricker there to put it into terms.
Yeah, you had to practically figure it out.
You know what I mean? So at the time, that was a lot of pressure for me. I was like, what? I was like, oh snap! What should I do here to like make this work?
Yeah, because people don't know, a lot of these animators, like, they're so amazingly talented in their ideas, but they just create things that just they see in their brain.
Yeah.
And then they show us these renderings, and then we're like, okay, that's not physically possible. If you wanted mocap,
Right.
you may have to just animate that part. We can do this, you know.
And it's crazy because I know you can probably back this up, but when you work for different studios doing mocap, they have a different level of how exact they want things to be.
100%.
Some studios, you could be kind of in the ballpark of what they want, and they're like, amazing. Well, now we're just going to have an animator do it. And you're like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, but there's other studios that are like, no, your hand has to be right here, and your head has, and they want it like perfect. So
I'm not an expert on it. From what I've been told, it's based on usually the amount of time and the amount of animators they have, because the longer it takes them to clean it up, it just it kills them. So
yeah, I know that makes. I mean, I can't even imagine how much time they sit and do that after I just do the flip. But yeah, it was cool because I got to just give them a ton of options for stuff. And a lot of the mocap was not even tricks. It was just pieces of the movie.
100%.
Like ducking underneath cars and like a couple fight beats and all that. And then the rest were tricks. Like I got to do, and it's crazy because I got to do all the iconic shots.
The highway
of
fight.
the movie. Like
you got
literally
to do the freeway fight stuff.
Yeah. So all the stuff that ended up making it in the trailer, all the stuff that was like the like Deadpool shot was the stuff that I got to do.
Yeah, try to pull that one up, Connor. Yeah, what's crazy is like the scene we're referring to is the scene that he fights on the freeway against all the guys.
Yeah.
That's
Pops
where you do
out of the
like you do the cork with the shots, right? Double gunshot.
Yeah.
Cork with the gunshots. So
yeah,
you got really hooked up again making the final cut,
dude.
man.
That was dope because that was pretty early in my career too. That's 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to do this stuff.
Yeah, super cool, man. And what's crazy to think about, though, is that it's mocapped. It looks so...
Dude, they killed it.
So amazingly real, guys.
Dude, there's a side swipe where I throw a knife, or I throw one of the swords.
Yeah.
It looks like it's part of it, but it's mocap.
Yeah, it's incredible,
and
man.
it's insane how well organized they had it. They knew exactly what they needed.
Totally. And
I gave them the tricks, and they picked them apart, and they wanted specific things, and then they were like, okay, we got it. We know what we can do with it.
Damn.
And they made it happen. Like this shot of me jumping out the car is a mix between like some sort of aerial twist move I did with two shots.
And then they stitched two of them together.
And then I did a back full
with
the gun. And then I did a couple like over rotating aerial twists where they could like, mess with it, but they wanted the gun positioning specific.
Yes.
So like they didn't even care if I landed a full. They wanted me to pop out and throw my hand in an exact position so that way they could animate it.
Yeah.
And at that time I was still pretty green, so I didn't know exactly how mocap worked. So I did that. I also didn't know how big Deadpool was going to be. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like at the time it was like Deadpool. I was like, and I knew like the Deadpool character, but it was like... Of
course, you've heard of the character, yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. I just remember signing the contract and Phil saying to me, because he didn't know me, he says, if you tell anyone about this, like he just scared the shit out of me. He's like, if you tell anyone about it, I was like, yes, sir, I'm not going to tell anybody. And I didn't tell anyone. And I just remember, I think I told my mom and dad, I was like, I did this movie like called Deadpool. Right? This movie called Deadpool. I told them a little later, like a couple weeks later, right? And my mom and dad were like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
They were like, they're like, oh, it's a movie? That's cool. That's cool. And I was like, yeah. And then the trailers came out, and it was like the biggest thing. Yeah. And I remember my dad called me. He was like, "Yo, is this thing you did? Like that you were telling us you did?" I was like, "Yeah, it's Deadpool." He was like, "Yo, this is on every commercial break. Like this is like a real big thing." And I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of crazy."
You're like, "I'm the 7th triple corker in the world."
I was like, "Dad, I made it." At the time, I thought I made it, but
Dude.
but it was cool because up until then, even doing the LL Cool J shows and stuff like that, my parents are extremely supportive for me. Yeah. But even in their defense, I like dipped out. I was like, I'm gonna go to LA and be in movies. My parents were like, oh my god, this guy's gonna be living on Skid Row. Like, what is this guy gonna be doing? But then I did Deadpool, and I remember my parents were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is kind of cool.
Pretty validating.
Yeah, like it was kind of validating.
That's cool, man. That's super cool. And it's really cool that you got to experience a lot of these things like somewhat earlier in your career and like on gigantic platforms, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which
I've been
is crazy.
so fortunate, man. I like looking back, the amount of people that have really given me a shot, that have just been like, it's really like at first my career was like, hey, we need a tricker. Yeah. And like at the time, like when you're in that stunt coordinate, like in that stunt zone, you only ask the people, like they'd be like, yo, Travis, like we need a tricker. Yeah, and then you're the guy, you know who to bring in.
Then I just call a couple guys.
And they trust you, you know? So it was like, it was cool. I just had people, I mean, you brought me on, like people brought me on. They're like, yeah, this is your guy. And yeah, I've been super fortunate.
It's been cool, man. And so along the lines of like Deadpool being just like a couple days of mocap just for that job, I know another job that you got to work on that was probably longer than a couple days is a little video game called Spiderman?
Yeah, Spiderman. More mocap.
Yeah, so what version of the video game is the one that you worked on?
So I did the Spider-Man PS4 limited edition one that they came out with. I guess it's 2 years ago now.
I think so. How long did you guys work on that one for?
Dude, like 4 years.
I was going to say, it completely different experience than Deadpool. And that's why I wanted people to see the disparity
like
between the two.
And it's crazy because, when is that picture? 200 weeks ago or something.
166 just on that one.
Yeah,
and
just on that
that's
picture.
Just in the middle.
That's like towards the end of it, yeah.
So that's like 3 years ago.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like when you go from working on... When you're working on a video game like that, it's not like a run, you know, like they'll have like 2-3 days where you shoot heavy and then they go animate stuff and then you come back, you do a week, they come back, you do a day, two, but ultimately it was the course of like 4 years.
Wow.
And that was a really cool game because when I went into it, it's funny because I went in and I remember they called me and shout out, Matt Mullins put me in for it. And I went in, I remember Matt telling me...
Respect to the Sharkey family.
Yeah,
Sideswipe family.
Shout out to the fam. He threw me in, and I remember he told me, he's like, yo, I just went and worked on this like Spider-Man game. They're just starting. I don't know who they have in there right now, but they need someone who can do like some tricks. And I was like, okay, cool, right? So I went in.
I'm the 7th triple corker in the world.
And at this time,
dude,
this was so...
You know this is the new roast, right? Like dude, this is the new roast.
It's so funny because up until now, you know, I feel like I'm so like tunnel vision with like my future stuff, like looking at like my future that I haven't like looked back.
You haven't looked back in a while.
Which is always...
You're not even that old, so like.
No, I'm not, but.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man. So I remember I went in, and the craziest part to me is I remember we were just doing like some fight stuff, and then they asked me to do like a dodging move.
Okay.
And I did like a touchdown raise to a cork or something. And I remember they were like, holy crap. And I was like, oh, you guys have never seen tricking before.
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome. Yeah. And then they just gave me free range with like everything. It was like, they'd have like an idea of what they wanted, but they never came in there telling me what I had to do. Which was the coolest job because I got to just like come up with cool stuff. They credited me as a fight choreographer.
Wow.
So they let me choreograph almost anything when I was there.
Wow.
And yeah, just over the course of 4 years, just coming up with new stuff, working with those guys. It was cool because those guys at Insomniac have a ton of animators. Mm-hmm. So it was a different type of job that a lot of people are used to where some of those mocap jobs are really taxing when they need something a specific way, if it's to match something or whatever. But these guys were cool because they gave me free range, and then they would go, all right, we're going to go mess with it.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what our animators want to do. And then I'd show up for another shoot, and they'd have like new animators in there. And they'd be like, yeah, we're the ones working on these moves. Like, can you do this for us? And then we would do that.
Damn. And I don't want to misspeak, but like it's cool because like in your game, there's one main character, and the majority of his movements, like flying and swinging through the universe and stuff, are clearly animated.
Right.
So it's like you're in a game that already is pretty heavily, relying upon just keyframing and doing stuff on their own, you know, without
right.
actual mocap. So it's cool, yeah.
For sure. And then it's crazy because playing the game, I'm not even good at the game. I haven't even like finished it.
Dude, I am horrible at Call of Duty.
I'm so bad, dude.
I've been in the game for 10
I can't
years.
do the first person shooters for that long.
I'm horrible at them, yeah.
Which is funny because you just want to see I just want to see
myself,
done,
see my deaths, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool because they really keep a lot of it really genuine though. A lot of it looks super animated, but it's stuff that we did, which is cool. Pretty cool. I mean, all the stuff that he's flying and swinging around, that's all them. I mean, we would do a couple like swinging things, and then they would just take it from there. Yeah.
That's even in the movies nowadays too. Like they used to do a lot of the stuff, like a lot of practical wire gags. Now they've gotten away from a lot of the wire stuff. They still do stuff, not to discredit all the doubles who are our homies, but they do a lot of stuff in VFX world now.
Or the homies take crazy ratchets and they put that VFX layer over the suit, and it looks like mocap, but they 100%. Really did get beat up,
get wrecked.
Yeah, that's one of the things, which is always hard. You're like watching it and you're like, whoa, I know. You hear a story, like someone told you, like, yeah, I did Spider-Man, I got yanked in this thing, and you watch the movie and you go,
it looks fake, but I know it's real.
Man, why did it? Yeah, like you know it's real, but everyone else doesn't.
That's so
doesn't
crazy.
See it, you know?
Yeah, man. And one of the coolest things about Spider-Man was you not only got to double Spider-Man and be the character, but you got to be a character in the game with your voice.
Yeah. Dude, those guys were so cool, man.
He's like, yeah.
Dude, those guys were so cool. Like, I got to play Spider-Man. I'm also like,
this is
50% of the thugs.
Did they draw this off you or no? Like,
dude, they had to. Right here? They had to.
Because it looks kind of like you. Like,
it's even got glasses.
It's
on.
crazy. The voice trips me out because it's clearly just your voice, you know. But like, yeah.
Yeah, and this is my homie. Okay, so this is a crazy throwback. So this is my homie Najee.
Okay.
Who in this game he plays Miles, right?
Yeah.
And I worked with Najee on a YouTube Red movie really early in my career called Dance Camp.
Is that the Jake one?
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul one.
I doubled Jake Paul.
In the green tracksuit.
Brandon Perea. Is that his last name?
Brandon Perea, who's been on a JAMCast.
Yeah,
episode.
so he was on it with us and a couple other people.
He was, yes.
Yeah, so I did that movie, made like $50 a day or something. It was just like a job. Somebody called me and they wanted.
They just need you to double Jake. You
Jake.
look like Jake Paul.
They were like, you can do tricks, and I was like, okay, cool. And I doubled, and it was funny because Jake Paul had just moved to LA, and he was still on Vine. He was still on Vine, which is crazy to see where that dude's at now. But
that's crazy. Yeah.
But I met Najee on that movie. He was an actor in the movie, and I showed up at this game. This was like a couple years later, and he was like, "Yo, what's up?" I was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" He's like, "Yo, I'm in the game." I'm like, "Oh snap!" So it's crazy. I mean, it's a small town. Like you always end up running into people. But that just goes to show, like, I'm happy I got to do all that other stuff, and I met all these other people in all these different realms of our business. You know.
That's super crazy, man. And so this game is that was the most recent one? Have they put one out since then, or
no? They haven't.
Okay. Are you still involved in any new games right now, or are you doing any other mocap here and there?
NDAs.
Oh.
Yeah. But
that means yes.
NDAs. I don't know what's going on, but
for those of you out there that are younger, NDA is a non-disclosure. So he signed something that says he can't officially talk about.
I can't talk about anything. I don't know what's happening, but I mean, that new Call of Duty game that's coming out.
Okay,
so I
cool.
can talk about that because
that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's cool because that's on a different platform than the ones that I work on.
Dude, that's so funny. I was actually going to say that.
So
you work on Call of Duty, and I never see Travis. Guys.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Like, so for those of you out there, there are 2 Call of Duty creators.
There's
technically
there's more than that.
Yeah, there's technically more than that, but they're pretty much always doing like one game alternating years. You know, so like while I'm doing one game, then you're doing the next game, and then you're doing the next game.
It's so funny.
It's really funny though because a lot of the homies will like post Call of Duty stuff. And then I'm like, oh, it's that game. No.
But sometimes we ended up on the same game.
Did we? There was one game that they brought us in for. Yeah.
Yeah, we ended up on the same game, but it was still like just 2 different groups of people doing it.
Yeah.
There's so many people that work on it. It's crazy.
It's such a unique experience, man.
Trying to work with Travis, man.
And I bring you out whenever I can, man.
Dude, no, you're the man, bro.
I think the last time that we worked together, I flew you out to Boston end of last year.
Yeah, dude, that was fun.
Which was fun.
Dude, if you guys ever get to work with Travis. Travis is the truth. Guys, if you get a call from Travis will tell you exactly what you're doing, how long you're going to be. He gives you all the details. Anybody that works in this business, you normally get called for work, you don't get told anything.
Yeah.
So Travis will tell you everything you need to know. He'll take care of you.
I try to do exactly what we didn't get told or treated like, you know.
100%.
Try to just like, you know, pull the veil away and give away as much as we can and stuff like that. Like Connor right now, have him on the hook for a job, but I'm like, dude, honestly, take anything else that comes because my job could go away in a second.
Dude,
and
that's
like,
such a different mentality.
Because we just literally talked about this. You just, you know, you've missed out on projects before because you're waiting for another project.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But it's cool, like when you're. Yeah, it's just cool. One, it's just cool working with your buddies. It's just a different vibe. Like all these older guys that are all working, you know, they go to work, they're all just with their buddies. You know, their friends, their boss. So that's already the best vibe. But
100%.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, and that's super cool, man. So do you have any other projects that you've been working on right now, or anything that's like in the can that's about to be coming out in the near future? Because the crazy thing about our business is we work on these things and then they come out like a year or two later.
It's crazy.
You know?
Yeah, it's funny, and it's funny to like think about that. I mean, it's funny because Hobbs and Shaw I did earlier this year, and it's already out.
It's already out,
which is insane.
Came out like a couple months after you finished. That never happens,
you know. So like, I mean, I went to Hawaii with all the guys, and it was like 6 weeks or something in Hawaii.
Yeah. In
January, like maybe into February, I don't remember. And then the movie came out last month.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Like The Rock turns his movies around. He's like,
it's
like, you guys done? Boom.
I
want 3 movies out this year. I already know how he rolls, you know. Yeah. But like I did.
Damn, that's wild.
Right after that, I did Birds of Prey.
Cool.
With JV and JoJo, with pretty much the same gang that we went to Hawaii with, which was really fun. We jumped off one show and then went right to the other show.
That's awesome. And for those that are listening, like you're going out there with like some old school trickers,
like the legends,
with some of the guys.
Yeah, I was out there with Nice, Danny. I was with Efka.
Wow.
Jonan, Kyle McLean, of course. Cool.
That's super crazy to see.
Johnny Gao, Kirk, the whole gang, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's a trip, man. It's a trip now to like see you like working alongside us all. You know,
dude, crazy. Yeah. Sometimes I show up, I'm like, what? We're out here doing it. But no, it's cool because we did that, and it's just such a different vibe working with like your buddies like that. Because like when you're on a set like that, you're getting wrecked. Like you're getting wrecked. You're eating shit all day, and I'm sure you can back this up. But there's some sets where you got to dig deep when you're eating crap all day, because if there's not someone next to you going like, yo, like pumping you up, you gotta you're like, all right, let's get it. But I'm out there getting slammed by the Rock, and I've got Anise and Danny looking at me like hyping you up, and you're just like, it's just a whole different thing. Like I remember the first one that the Rock did to me in that video when he slammed me. He slammed me so hard, and I remember I was just so scared. I was like, "Yo, this is crazy," and I threw my elbows back too far, and I broke my fall, and I ate shit. Like hit my head, and I was like, "Oh man!" But I knew it wasn't like a good take. Like it looked like I saved myself, and I was a little upset about it. And I remember Anise was like, "Yo, you need to just eat it." He was like, stop putting your elbows down. And I was like, all right, yeah.
Oh man.
Because like, I mean, the first one, I had to feel it. I was like, how crazy is this gonna be? Yeah. And then the second one, which you see, I just go, boom, right? But then you have your homies off in the corner that like pick you up at the end, and they're like, yo, you good? You good? But it's just different than like, all right, cool, moving on.
Hell yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, it's cool to find comfort in your homies, especially at the end of a day, at the end of a long day. You can go home and talk about it and hang out.
Go grab dinner with your friends.
Yeah. Man, that is super cool, dog. So, I mean, for someone that's so young in your career, man, you obviously have, like, a lot of promise ahead of you. So, like, I don't want to jinx it and stuff or look too far ahead, but what are the plans for the next few years, man? Are you trying to continue this performing, or what are the goals and aspirations?
I mean, I try not to look too far in the future because I kind of psych myself out. But I'd like to. At first, I was like, I want to be a stunt coordinator. That was like my thing, but I'm totally cool with taking the stepping stones up there, and I think it would be cool to fight coordinate. Yeah, I definitely would be down to fight coordinate, shoot and edit some previs, and get creative. Cause I did a bunch of these big movies, and I really found that the movies that I had the most fun on or really enjoyed were the movies that I either got involved in the whole project. Like I was on the run, involved in prep and like, or the films where I had maybe some say in coming up with stuff. Like shout out David Wald brought me on Bumblebee, and we did a couple months of prep and just basically choreographed all of our Transformers fights, and it was like the best thing ever. But then I've gone and done movies where you're just like eating shit all day and people are flipping cars and stuff, and I'm like, it's not. I've just realized that's not necessarily my scene at the moment. Like I'm like, I don't know if I want to flip any cars right now. So I'm basically I was coming at it like this. I was like the guys that go skydiving on the weekends or like go flipping cars for fun. I'm the type of guy to go home, watch tricking videos and watch martial arts videos. So like that's where my passion is still the martial arts and the tricking and hopefully choreographing and
hell yeah.
Yeah.
You still tricking at all?
A little bit. I've been beat up from work, but I still make sure it's there. I've been battling this little ankle injury, but I did a crazy ratchet and smacked my foot really hard.
I mean, dude, you just got me hyped. You said battle. I was like, yo, you're about to battle?
Oh, no. Nah, I don't know about that. I've been battling this ankle injury.
I was like, whoa, Ross, you dropping it live on the JAMCast?
No. I haven't really. It's funny because when we talk about throwing triple corks and stuff, I don't know the last time I just like I tried to like push it, which is why I have a hard time like tricking because when I go I want to go really really hard.
Yeah.
And I got to like stop myself sometimes.
And
you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, and it's crazy because like, you know, not to say that age is a defining factor, an excuse for it at all, but like you're a lot younger than I am, and like you're experiencing a similar mindset to like what I'm experiencing, and it's because you're further along in your career at this point in your life, and so like things matter, injuries matter, like consequences matter.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, cause those days when I was doing triple cork, there was not like a second thought in my brain. It was like I'm just gonna throw it, and it doesn't matter. And there were days where like I like kind of like you mess yourself up, and you'd be like, all right, I'll go back to the gym in like 2 weeks. I'll just like rest. But now it's like, man, if I sprain my ankle, what the hell am I gonna do? So. Exactly. And it's funny because I've gone to jam and I've started like sessioning really hard, and I've literally had moments where I go, I should call it a night. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I start throwing some crazy tricks, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I can do it. It's there. Let me not try anything too crazy right now because I got to work in the morning.
Crazy, dog. That's wild. Yeah, but it's good. I wanted part of the reason I wanted you on here was for kids to see that perspective of things of like, you know, what we're experiencing at our age, but also like, you know, it's pretty cool for kids to see like what could happen if you actually try to pursue the industry straight out of high school.
For sure. I mean, what I always try to tell people, because it's funny because I've been extremely fortunate with the opportunities I've been given. Everyone that's helped me out, because that's what this business really is. Yeah. Everyone wants to work with cool people, talented people, and it's all about who gives you a shot. But anyone else because people message me and they're like, hey, how's the stunt life? Can I move out there and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's really hard to not give someone like a jaded, like, hey, it's not as easy as it looks.
Totally.
But I will say, you just gotta like do it. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing stunts now, but I did shows with LL Cool J and did like reality TV shows and like random things until I kind of figured out what I wanted to do. And I also tell people that like some people move out here and they want to do stunts, but you might not want to do stunts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their little lane. Like I know people that hit me up and they're dancers and like, I want to do stunts. And I'm like, well, go dance for a little bit. Yeah. I don't know, like, or go do stunts, but like, this is what it is, you know what I mean? So, but you just got to do it. Like I'm ultimately happy I moved here when I did and just had the journey that I had. And, Yeah, very fortunate.
It's crazy, man, and it's been cool to watch and be a part of that journey, dog. Like from all the way back to flying to jobs in Japan, dude, having breakaway clothes to being able to like fly you out on my movie in Boston last year was cool, man. So I appreciate you coming by and sharing some stories.
I don't know if you remember this too. This is my moment with Travis. This is a cool thing. I remember I was gonna try to bring this up, was because you gave me so many jobs in the beginning. I don't know if you remember when I hit you up to do that Skechers commercial.
Yes.
So I was coordinating that commercial, and I was working on it. It was like a couple days, and then they added another day, and I couldn't do it. And I was like, they were like, we need a stunt coordinator, and I was like, I'm gonna call Travis. I was like, let me get Travis back. I can get Travis back. So that's when I called you, and I was stoked that you could do it, because I was like, you got to pay it forward, you know what I mean?
And I appreciate that, man. Even though it's not about that, in this business, like as far as like I'm not keeping track of people doing stuff, but nothing's cooler than when you're able to like do that.
You got to take care of your peeps.
Yeah.
We're all out here.
100%, dog. Well, just remember this. I'll keep hiring you now so you can hire me 10 years from now.
I got you, Travis.
Just got to keep that health insurance up when I move on to the next career, Keep them annual minimums up, baby.
Dude. Do some extra days.
Exactly. Just bring me out to sit still and stuff. So. Hell yeah, man. Well, like I said, man, let's not ever make these the last of these. Let's just make this the first one that you've been on, and let's come back and talk about some more stuff, man. I mean, dude,
it's the beginning.
You're super early on in your career. I'm sure there'll be some more movies we can talk about in the near future. So
yeah, man. Hopefully,
yeah, man.
It doesn't hit the fan.
Well, I appreciate you coming by, dog. And before we get out of here, just swing that mic in front of you, look into that camera, and let people know where they can stay up to date and follow your stuff.
I guess just Instagram. It's just my name, RossKohnstam. That's it, I guess.
Hell yeah, dog.
Yeah, I have a Twitter, but I don't really use it. It probably is just on my Instagram posts.
Same here. I never use my Twitter. It's crazy. Yeah. Probably get me in trouble 5 years from now with old tweets. So with that being said, y'all, please be sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for brand new jam breakdowns, and every Friday for brand new JAMCast interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Ross Kohnstam himself. Ooh. So that being said, guys, I got to give a special shout out to Mr. Connor Simon for running the cameras on the Switcher app. Got to give a special shout out to our guest this week, Mr. Ross Kohnstam.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, everybody.
And as always, guys, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon.
Boom.
Peace.